Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed. Today we're going to be talking about the Diversity Lottery Program, or more commonly known to people as the Green Card Lottery Program. Joining me today as my guest is Dr. Klara Bilgin. She is the Dean of the School of Public and International Affairs at Virginia International University, located here in Fairfax. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you are originally from Bulgaria, and you are now the dean of an international university. And clearly there's a story there as far as your path personally, from how you came from Bulgaria to land here in Fairfax. Can you give us a little bit of background?
Sure, I would be happy to. I came originally in 1997, and I came to the University of Delaware. I was enrolled as a master's student in political science. And in my second year there, I received a notification that I have actually won the Green Card Lottery. So this was a tremendously joyous event for me, but not a life-changing event. My plan was to continue on an academic path, and I was already accepted in a PhD program at Johns Hopkins University. So for me, it was a great event, a great thing to happen, but not really a life-changing thing. But I know that for thousands, and if not millions of people around the world, winning the Green Card Lottery is really a life-changing event. Now, we are in a situation where this is one of the two immigration programs that is on the chopping block. And unfortunately, this is an orphan program. There is no large constituency in the US that would come up and defend it in front of Congress and in front of, the American people. I'm hoping that talking about this program today would make people to see other aspects, more of the international, more of the soft power aspect of this program, and what it means for the millions of people who are applying for it every year.
Right, because there's been a lot of focus on certain kinds of countries. Our president didn't put it very gracefully when he talked about where the desirable immigrants should come from. But Bulgaria is a country in Eastern Europe that not a lot of people think, wow, we should have more immigrants from there.
Oh, absolutely. And the good thing about the program is that it is really universal. The idea behind it was that we want to bring more diversity to this country. And there is no better way than opening such a program to most of the countries in the world, with the exception of about 18. So currently, citizens of most countries in the world, from Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania, are allowed to apply. Only countries that are overrepresented here, such as the UK, Mexico, Canada, India, and China cannot actually have their citizens apply for the program. The interesting thing is that the program was not designed really to bring diversity to this country. The program was designed in the 1990s. It was launched in 1995 as a way to give citizenship to Irish immigrants who were not otherwise qualified to stay here based on their professional merits. So the intent was, and the pressure on Congress at this time was, to create a path of citizenship for these Irish immigrants through the diversity lottery. Of course, in the years to come, things changed, and the people who benefited from this lottery were not mostly Irish immigrants, but were people from all around the world. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the process of applying to the Green Card Lottery, because this is very much it is very much misrepresented.
Right. So
every year, in a particular period between October and November, the Green Card Lottery, the official website, is open for people who are eligible to apply online. They submit an electronic entry, and this electronic entry is free. You can submit only one. If you submit more, you would be disqualified. So it doesn't matter whether you are a housewife in Poland or a businessman in Nigeria. If you are from one of these countries, it just would take you a computer and a little bit of time to submit such an electronic entry. And then there is the waiting game. Yes, you have submitted an entry, and you may be one of the desired lucky winners. And we every year have about 50,000 lucky winners. In May each year, the official letters of who has won the lottery would be sent, and if you are as lucky, you would receive it in your mailbox, and you would know, hey, I qualify. Now, the fact that you receive a letter telling you that you are one of the lucky winners that was randomly elected through electronic process doesn't guarantee you a visa or a green card to US.
Right, because there has to be some vetting. This is not a carte blanche to, oh, you're in. Clearly, they are doing a lot of vetting of these.
Yes, and again, there is a lot of talk that the worst of the worst come through this process, but I would absolutely disagree, because there are qualifications for you in order to apply. You have to have the equivalent of higher education. You have to have the 2 years of experience in a relevant field, and also you have to prove that you have clean police records and a good health status. I remember I'm one of the winners, as I mentioned, and one of the obstacles I met after winning, when I was preparing the documents to send for vetting, was the fact that I didn't have my TB shots. I didn't have a documentation of my TB shots. I knew I have had shots, but I didn't have the documentation, and the only way for me to proceed was to actually get a new shot and prove that this shot was administered.
Right, so there all along the way, there are checks and double checks, medically, academically, making sure we're not allowing criminals into the country.
Yes, well, there is definitely a criminal check, especially in the last 10 years. I believe that winners have been extensively vetted, right, as much as possible from some countries.
And so these people come to this country and they do a lot of different kinds of jobs. I mean, people, and how long, you said this is 1995. This is a long, long time for people to have come to this country, gotten additional education. I know that I've heard stories about lottery winners who are now teaching in universities, just like you are. People own businesses, they have families, they have grandchildren, they own property. There's a lot of stories over the period of years.
There are a lot of stories, but I want to speak more about the stories from outside. As an academic and an international elections observer, I travel a lot. And I travel in the countries of Eastern Europe, I travel in Asia, I travel a little bit in Latin America. And if I happen to be there in the month of October, in the month of November, definitely somebody would approach me and would tell me that they have applied for the green card lottery and what I think and how they can increase their chances, or they would share what their ritual of praying is in order for them to win. So I have a number of stories that I remember. I have a very close friend in Bulgaria, and she told me that she has been applying since 1996. And she would continue applying. So it is already 22 years, right? But she would continue applying by the time she's 52. Because this is the threshold for her beyond which she cannot start a new life. Now, she's very well educated, professional woman who just feels that she wants to, have a new chance in the land of opportunity. And for her, in her words, doing this every year is a way of renewing hope, but also a way of defiance and sometimes even political resistance. And I think for a lot of people around the world, just the thought of having this second chance is a way of sustenance. You don't know whether you would win. Every year you may, and even if you don't, some people around the world, a lot of families say, well, if it doesn't happen for me, it can happen for my kids. It can happen for my sister and brother. So there is a tremendous feeling of optimism and hope that this program generates. And if we only look at how we experience it from inside this country, we miss a whole big picture of how it is experienced abroad. I was traveling in Benin. And I remember a mother, she was a single mother of 2 children. And she told me that last year, she traveled about 2 hours to go to an internet cafe and submit her entry, and how long she prayed the day before and the day after that, because she thought that this was her only opportunity of giving new future to her children. And this is where, we kind of misunderstand the green card lottery. We think, oh, why are these undeserving people here, are coming here? We should only make people who qualify based on their job credentials to become part of the immigrant community. I would highly disagree. We have a huge number of programs, starting with HB1, LM, different visa programs that bring people based on their qualifications. And the visa program is only one small part. It's about 4% of our overall cohort of immigrants. Yes. So we do have the programs that bring people based on what we need in the labor market. And then we have this sui generis small program that is very special. I believe that it's only our country and Switzerland that have it. That provides opportunity to everyone. Now let me ask you, is there something more American than saying we would provide opportunity to everyone? Everyone has the same right to second chance, to happiness, to the opportunity to live in freedom and start a new life.
That's why our whole country was founded on that, because
Yes.
we are all immigrants. Everybody who came to this country is an immigrant, and we created the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution based on this fundamental belief that everybody is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that people should have an opportunity to work hard, to invest in their country, to raise their children, and to give back.
Absolutely. And this program does that. It does not privilege people who are already well educated. It does not privilege people who are already connected. It does not privilege people who are already privileged because of their wealth. Yes, it allows everyone, no matter their gender, no matter their education, no matter their attitude or lifestyle, the same chance based on fortuna or God or whatever is there divine for you or you, to have a second chance and to have a new life pursuing the American dream. Yes. And there is, I see this program as quintessentially American because it does not differentiate. It values people equally and provides chance to all of them equally. So I find that the symbolic message of the program is very powerful, and we are not understanding how it comes out abroad.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think people in this country, you know, our perspective is from where we're standing inside the country, and you're absolutely right. If you travel to other countries and you see the hope, the optimism, how people cling to the idea that at some point in the future they can provide a better life for themselves, but more importantly, to your point, so many people want a better life for their children. So when we come back from this break, we are going to be talking to Dr. Klara Bilgin of the Virginia International University about the green card lottery and the things that we need to know about it.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. One and some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try.
Only you.
Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about rooftop life. Nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Yeah.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Why don't you just wash your car at home?
When I wash my car, everything runs down the street and down into the storm drains. With all the chemicals in the soaps and waxes, the last thing I want to do is poison my own drinking water.
At least here, it's all contained and recycled on site.
That's why I also take my car in for oil changes instead of doing it myself. I might take a chance on spilling stuff.
You know what the best part is?
What?
More time to kick back and watch the game.
How far would you go to protect the planet?
I want you to build an ark.
Here we go. Okay, that's good. Oh, okay. Ow!
Maybe there's another way.
People, the flood is imminent!
Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
Go to fightglobalwarming.com to find out what you and your community can do to reduce global warming pollution.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and today we are talking with Dr. Klara Bilgin of the Virginia International University about the Green Card Lottery, which is a diversity lottery program that's been in place since 1995. Thank you so much for being here, Klara.
It's my pleasure.
So let's talk a little bit about the political impact of this diversity lottery program and sort of this soft power strategy behind it?
Okay. So I'm a political scientist, and my specialization is in comparative politics and international relations. So when I look at different programs, I look at what is their impact not only locally and regionally, but also globally. And one thing that I saw missing very much in our discussion, or more like lack of discussion about what are the merits and the dismerits of the diversity lottery, is focus of its impact internationally. As I have not read or heard as of yet strong arguments of what does it do for us or doesn't do for us in the international arena. And frankly, I think that it is a very critical element of our soft power arsenal. And why would this be the case? Well, first of all, because think about it. By allowing people to do their entries, to apply for the diversity program year after year after year, we basically keep them invested in the future of the US. Because what you're considering is, well, I may win and I may become part of this welfare of opportunity and wealth, yes? Or even if I don't win, somebody of my family or my children can win. So we create a group of millions of people who, by proxy, feel invested in the good and the bright future of this country. Yes, because they are thinking it's not very likely. It's not likely at all. In fact, the chances are very slim. But maybe, yes, maybe I may be one of the winners. And this is a very powerful thought, and it ties you to the future and to the well-being of this country. Secondly, even those people who come, and we say, oh, they bring their families and so on. Well, they bring their families, but also they leave a lot of their family behind. And once you are in this country, you are working, you're sending remissions, you're sending presents and so on to your family there, you are sharing your experience. You are creating a dense network of human connections that are simply also buffering this country. Goodwill on all sides of people who are here, who are experiencing life, and they are struggling, but they are making progress, and their relatives who are now also directly invested because they have their children or grandchildren here. So if you want to have positive opinion and kind of positive will for our country from abroad, you get it on the cheap through this program.
That makes sense.
It doesn't cost you a lot, but
that's right, because what person would aspire to come to a country that they didn't think was somehow the land of opportunity and offer them something more than where they were right now?
Yes, and I want to think more of these people that come, not as people who didn't have other opportunities. I would wish to think about them as the new pioneers, because it is not easy. Yes, even if you receive the notification that you have been selected and you have to go through the vetting process, there are a number of procedures that you have to pass through. And usually you would have to pass through these procedures, buy your tickets, say whatever you have at home, and come to this country and make a new life for yourself. Now think about it. If you're a student, if I come on a student visa through a university, or if I come on a worker's visa through a company, it is much easier for me. There is no trail that I have to blaze. The things are set. I would start with a salary, or I would have a status as a student, and then I would pursue an academic or an employment career. But if I come on my own, yes, with my family or without my family, with the savings that I have to figure out everything for myself. And mind you, I feel that I have been the lucky, I have been the chosen. Yes, it has happened to me. Wow, it hasn't happened to millions of people. So I feel privileged, but I also feel that I have to deserve it. So the motivations and the merits of those people who actually win are not to come here and waste their time, as they have made the journey on their own, and they have a path to create and a new future to create. And with most of the people that I have spoken with, and I have spoken with a huge number of people who are green card lottery winners, they are very invested in this new future. They don't want to waste it because they thought it is so valuable and so precious that they have to deserve it.
You know, and that is the whole history of the United States from the very beginning. People who came here who wanted to start their own business. You know, we talk about how our economy is built on the backs of small businesses, not huge corporations, not gigantic technology companies. It is the businesses in our own communities, and many of them are owned by immigrants, new immigrants to this country, become entrepreneurs.
Yes, and absolutely, and it's really surprising for me how all of a sudden in the last year and a half we started to talk of people as being a liability. As previously, and I remember the ethos of diversity is good, people are good, people are resources. The more of these people resources you have, the better you are. We are living in an era in which we hear that China is going to move 500 million people out of poverty. Yes, and use these human resources. And we, a country of this stature, of this economic wealth, we are talking of people now as being liability, the newcomers, the immigrants, the people who are here looking for status. And I'm wondering, why is this the case? Why would China be able to create a new future and bring these people from poverty into the middle class? And we are not able to absorb labor resources who are not huge given our population. Yes, we're talking about possibly altogether with all immigrants, about up to 20 million people. And so I kind of see this more as a mismanagement on the economic side, or possibly a wrong way of looking at things rather than a real problem.
No, I agree with you, and I think we know what happened. I mean, we had a president who ran on Make America Great Again, and people have in their mind what America is to them. And to many Americans, and a lot of the people who voted him into office, America doesn't look diverse. To them, America looks like a Norman Rockwell painting of, you know, people from a decade or a century ago. And I think that really is the answer, is to why suddenly we went from seeing the diversity of talent and people coming here as an asset to suddenly seeing them as a liability. It's not that the people have changed. It's our point of view has been impacted by leadership that is telling us that America looks a certain way.
Yes, and this is very problematic, especially in the coming decade and within the new geopolitical situation, because, I mean, from an international perspective, we know that we are entering a decade which would be challenging for us as a global power, as a rival to countries like China and to some extent Russia, and that we are going to have a geopolitical rivalry that is, you know, global. And we need as many allies and as much soft power and goodwill from abroad as we can muster. This rivalry would be played everywhere. It will be played economically, it will be played demographically, it will be played politically. So I don't think it is the time now to create enemies and to cut off people who are otherwise very much well inclined towards the US. Because if we tell, you know, countries around the world, there is no more green card lottery, that's it. Why would they be invested in our future? Why would they consider that they have a stake in what happens to us? They wouldn't.
Right.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, you close the borders, and why should people outside those closed borders ever have an interest in the health and well-being of this country if they know that they don't have an opportunity to ever be part of it?
Yes, yes. So it's a very myopic mindset. It's a very close mentality to think, oh, we would be so much better if we throw everyone out, yes, or we would sort it out. We would not sort it out. We would just stop to be the country that we were born to be. And we would not be better than any other country that is based on internal nationalism and xenophobia against others. So I think that talking about the diversity card lottery is bringing us to speak about larger developments that we have to consider when we consider programs related to immigration. Yes? What would be the impact for our global power, soft and overall and geopolitical and strategic, because these things are tight. And we may be very surprised in 2 years, once we cut everything off, to find that we really are becoming, we are shrinking. I have a feeling that we as a country, by kind of antagonizing everything and everybody and throwing people out, we are shrinking, and I don't think that Americans will be happy with the result 2 or 3 years down the road.
You know, and I think part of what impacts our point of view is Northern Virginia, which is a very international community. You look in the elementary schools, you look in the high schools, you look on university campuses, whether it's Virginia International University or George Mason University. We are wealthier and we are richer for the international flavor of the region where we live.
Oh, absolutely. And as a dean who works with a lot of international students, I find this to be very challenging, but also very rewarding. And what we do is we try to have our students get the best of their American experience. They come here, I have 2 master's programs that I administer and lead. And what I want to do is to teach these students how to be good administrators in public policy or good managers in the area of international development. And the fact that they can be here, they can experience how it is done in this country is of huge help for them. I don't see most of them trying to stay in this country. I see most of them learning very fast, kind of growing and transitioning and being ready to apply whatever they see here as good practices to the place where they come from.
And that's kind of the whole idea too, is that America's always seen itself as a leader in spreading democracy and the principles of democracy and open markets and capitalism. And you know, we see ourselves as a leader in this. And so when people come to this country to learn those things, to take back to their own country, we're really kind of spreading American ideals.
We do. And as we say in politics, politics does not tolerate vacuum. And if we don't do it, somebody else will. And we already see in terms of international students and the market of international students, there is a decrease in the level of those students who want to come and study in the US. And this has started a little bit slightly, but now it is growing. And this market of international students is currently being redistributed. We hear more and more of international students going to places like Canada, going to places like Australia, even China now. I think that China would become a big player in international education. And 5 years down the road, we would look at the international students who are coming here and would say, how did we lose them? Well, it was a process, gradually gaining momentum, and we couldn't stop it. We couldn't even realize it. We couldn't speak about it.
And thank you so much for bringing that to light, because this is something that I think most people don't know. And so thank you, Klara Bilgin, for being here. And this is what you need to know about the Green Card Lottery.